Hey guys, it's 26, back for another video. Today we're going to do an in-depth battle report review of Black Sabbath from the Alliance DOA in 1239 versus iRemz from the Alliance Dan in 1227. A lot of you are familiar with iRemz. He's a pretty famous castle in the YouTube scene and in Clash of Kings in general. He's one of the most powerful castles easily in the game. And a lot of you probably think that he is invincible. Well, I want to show you something that I found simply amazing. And I want to share it with you because a lot of people assume that 500% archer attack is impossible to defend against, and that's simply not true. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's meet the players first. We've got iRemz from 1227. Here is his Lord page. He has 780 million kills, almost 1.2 billion power. He's Lord level 53. And if you look at his combat victories versus his combat losses, he's made over 21,000 successful combat victories and only lost 96 times. So let's go ahead and meet the David in this situation who slayed Goliath, at least to an extent. This is Black Sabbath's castle. I got the screenshot for him, so I had to end up cropping it out a little bit. And here is Black Sabbath's Lord page. Now, I want you to pay attention to a couple of things. Black Sabbath only has 57 million power. I believe he was only 55 million power at the time of the hit, at least based on information I got from Black Sabbath and other DOA members that I've talked to. If you look at that 57 million power, though, over 1.6 million power of that is science power, which means he has pretty good science. 1.4 million is equipment power, which means he has amazing equipment. If you look at his stats for combat victories, he's got 12,414 combat victories and 300 combat losses. Still not terribly horrible stats. 97% victory rate. And that's really awesome. Both of these castles are P5s. So as far as the troop levels are concerned, everybody has the same level of troops. So let's look at this first battle report. This is a defense victory. You can see here in the top corner, it was during Kingdom Conquest on 4/8. You can see the defender was Black Sabbath. He lost 1.5 million power, 500,000 kills, 6,000 losses, and he filled his hospital capacity of 206,000. Prior to the attack, he had roughly 6.5, well, I guess maybe 6.6 million troops. And if you look at iRemz on the right, he lost 4 million power. He had 509,842 wounded, which means he uses a wounded skill on Black Sabbath. And he only killed 212,708. Now, you might be thinking, a 1.2 billion power castle should be able to wounded skill a 55 million power castle. That shouldn't be too difficult, right? Well, there's a lot of reasons why iRemz did not win this battle. And we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Now let's move on to cavalry basic damage. Black Sabbath has a +2 in cavalry basic damage. I don't see on the right-hand side where iRemz has unlocked that particular attribute. Next, we also have Black Sabbath and iRemz both have plus 5% for basic for charge damage. Now, the archer attack, that's where a big discrepancy is. You're going to see Black Sabbath only has 349% archer attack, while iRemz has 544% archer attack. Also, so this is what iRemz sent in that wounded skill that Black Sabbath won. He sent his Blue Dragon, which had 0% bond, but it's a level 33. It only got 46 kills. He also sent Selma in his March. And 100,000 Tier 10 infantry. 282,196 Tier 10 P5 archers. And 77,930 Tier 10 siege engines. Now, the interesting thing to note, most people who have their stats pretty much heavy on nothing but archers and siege, most of the time all they send in their marches is archers and siege and a little bit of infantry, or in this case 100,000 infantry. The one fatal flaw in that is this game is built to utilize all the different types of troops, not just your infantry, not just your archers, not just your siege engines, not just your cavalry. So if you don't utilize all of the troops, you're not getting the full benefit of all the skills and all the talents and all the things that they've built into the game. Moving on, though. So this is what Black Sabbath had in his castle at the time of the attack. He had his Blue Dragon defending. You notice his Blue Dragon with 91% bond actually received or got 1,600, almost 1,700 kills just by itself. So that's pretty cool. And it's only a level 16 compared to iRemz, which was a level 33, but it was 0% bond. We're going to definitely dig into dragons here in the next couple of videos, but for now, let's focus on iRemz and Black Sabbath. So we've got Jared on the wall, level 40, HR officer. I will show you the equipment he had on him in just a moment. If you look here, he had close to 1 million tier 10 berserkers. He had over 1 million tier 10 cavalry. Interesting point of information. Having that number of cavalry definitely made a huge impact on the number of kills that Black Sabbath had, and also the amount of wounded skills or duels or attacks in general he can withstand. Cavalry troops are fairly important because of that dodge attack. Once they reach P5, it increases, as far as the talents are concerned, it increases their ability to dodge attacks. And they're actually a relatively powerful unit if they're equipped correctly. Also, he had over 1 million archers. That definitely doesn't hurt things. As you can see, another Dan member decided he also wanted to do a wounded attack on Black Sabbath to try his hand and see if he could knock him down. But unfortunately, even this wounded attack, you're only seeing 76,000 losses on Black Sabbath's end, and I'm assuming that's with full hospital capacity, meaning he can't even bed any more additional wounded troops. So this particular P5 doesn't have quite as monster stats as iRemz, of course, but he's still a monster. He's still huge. So it is possible to win attacks, and had he actually attacked without the wounded skill, all of those would have been, it would have been dead instead of it wouldn't have been as many wounded, that's for daggone sure. Now let's look at the stats of the second Dan member and see why, even though he had 449 archer attack and 251 siege engine attack, he only got 80,000 kills. That means that Black Sabbath's balanced stats and sheer number of troops overweighed the fact that this musty guy has amazing archer attack. I mean, let's face it, anything over 400, I personally think, is some monster stats, because a lot of P5s I know don't even have over 250 because it's money. Like, there's a lot of money spent in order to be these 1.2 billion power castles. Now, I don't have the equipment of what iRemz has, but I do know what Black Sabbath has because he sent it to me. I'm not going to go into every single one of these pieces of equipment, mostly because it would have taken entirely too long to take pictures of all of them. But you can look in game and see what each one of these, I want to say all of these are Asylum sets. I can double check with Black Sabbath and leave a comment in the comment section to let you know for sure. But I believe all 5 Asylum sets, the only one that's not an Asylum set is the ring, obviously. That's not a set. And the only other difference from what was in this picture was, instead of it being a level 1 gold glass, it was a level 30 gold glass, which is where he got that 15% attack and defense bonus when defending. Now, he also had Jared on the wall, so let's take a look at that. Now, Black Sabbath's Thornflower is also level 40, but as you can see, its equipment's more gold equipment and actually has 2 sets, both a level 25 gold pants and level 25 gold breastplate. We can check and see exactly where those stats get added. I believe they all show up in your actual stats when you get attacked or when you are attacking. She wasn't actually involved in the battle, so her stats didn't really make too much of a difference. But I think it's very interesting to note that Black Sabbath, I personally think, is one of the smarter players in Clash of Kings, because he actually pays attention to the different types of troops and what their skills and what they're good at and what they're not good at. And he sets his heroes and his equipment and all those other things appropriately, so that way he can utilize them depending on what the situation is. There's lots of different ways you can set up your equipment and your heroes and whatnot, and there's no one perfect way to play this game. The one thing that I have learned in playing for as long as I have is everybody has a different playing style, and you have to find the one that fits your particular playing style and stick with it and own it and work it out. So we're going to close this video out with the battle report from the Super Rally, the only actual defense failure that Dan got against Black Sabbath. Now, if they're just sending 500,000, 450,000 troops at Black Sabbath's 600 and some odd thousand troops, they're not going to make it, 6 million some odd thousand troops, they're not going to make a dent in it. They're not going to kill them off. You're going to have to send multiple attacks of 500,000 to just chip away at that 6 million troop amount. And it would be expensive in power and troops and all of that. So they did hit him with a super rally. They sent, let's see here, 1.5 million, a little bit over, like 1.6 million troops roughly, I want to say. They sent 1.6 million troops. They all had iRemz stats, so we've seen iRemz stats before. We know what they look like. But you notice that Black Sabbath did not lose that many, grand scheme of things, did not lose that many troops, Because if you had 1.6 million troops, that's like what, three full marches of iRemz troops coming at you all at once. And they were all P5s. They were all P5s involved in the super rally. So you've got literally 1.6 million P5 troops coming at you. You have roughly 6 million troops inside your castle. Logic would dictate most of the time that you would be fine, but the stats make all the difference. Even though Black Sabbath had sheer numbers as far as number of troops in the actual castle, iRemz had enough troops to be able to knock him down. This is 331,000 losses. That's 6 million power, almost 7 million power in one hit. We've seen power hit rallies in my power hit challenge video plug. We've seen power hits way bigger than that, with stats way crappier than that. Now, granted, it's probably also because the person they're attacking stats are also garbage, but it's my personal belief that because Black Sabbath's stats are more balanced and have a more balanced approach to the battlefield and to troop composition inside of the castle, as well as hero attribute and all of that, like all the different parts of him being more well balanced as far as not just dumping everything into archer attack. I personally believe that's what kept most of his troops alive. That's what kept his 5,294,000 troops alive. Most of the troops that were wounded, I would assume, are probably lower level troops that, just came along the way. That wraps it up, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And if y'all can get me to 1,000 subscribers, I will start doing live Q&A sessions, so y'all can look forward to that.